Well, Atlanta was remarkable. This is my first visit, and I'd heard a lot about Atlanta. Of course, I've seen Gone with the Wind, so I was very curious to look at Atlanta and see whether it survived the burning of the city in the 19th century. And I came here to find this thriving, impressive, really a huge, global, very impressive global city. And at its core, you have both the community, and you also have these symbols of globalization. The Coca-Cola headquarters here, CNN headquarters, and I went to see the CNN headquarters just as a tourist. But what I was most impressed by Atlanta was the fact, and the first night we arrived here, my team and I, the Muslim leaders gave a dinner for us, and about 30, 40 of the leading Muslims attended that dinner. We had a very cordial dinner, and I looked around me and I was very impressed. I saw African Americans, Bosnians, Turks, Pakistanis, Caucasians, all women, men, young, old, at that dinner. Very warm, very welcoming, very keen to talk to us about Atlanta, show us around. And so since then we've been extremely active, visiting people, interviewing people, talking to people. Today we intend going to the university. Tomorrow we are attending the main mosque, the largest mosque in Atlanta. And I've been told there are 40 mosques in Atlanta. There's a thriving African-American community of Muslims. I think about half the Muslim population is African-American. And they have a very rich history, as you know. This city is associated with some extraordinary figures, Martin Luther King Jr. and Andy Young, who I had the pleasure of meeting, having dinner with him. So Atlanta, in that sense, to me really offers hope of a vibrant, diverse United States of America, which in a sense, President Obama represents. The whole inauguration and the sense of joy and the sense of festivity that a new page has been started in American history. I think Atlanta reflects that spirit.
And President Obama has, during the campaign, his middle name was Hussein was often used against him by some people, frankly.
Obama's middle name was used to hit him with, to hit him like a stick and hope that it'll somehow spoil his image. What these people didn't realize was they were doing two things. They were obviously attempting to create racial hatred in the United States, and we can't avoid the history of the United States. There has been a very tragic period when slaves were brought from Africa and treated in the most brutal manner. I visited Sapelo Island, just off the coast of Georgia. Have you heard of this island? Now you see, as a young American, Trevor, you need to understand your own history. Slaves were brought from Africa. There was a young man out shopping or hunting or sitting in the mosque, a very distinguished Muslim scholar called Bilali Muhammad, on some West African village, a coastal village. Next minute he finds himself chained and shackled and brought across the Atlantic on those dreadful death ships in which millions of people are from Africa. And remember, when we say slaves, we demean those people. These were princes, these were scholars, these were elders, these were wonderful people. They were living normal, wonderful lives. And suddenly that life was cut, suddenly like a nightmare, but a nightmare that never ended for them. Their identity stripped, their names are stripped, their religion stripped. This man held on to his identity for several generations. And it began to blur and fade, but his direct descendants, 10 generations down, direct, so you can imagine 10 generations, 1, 2, 3, 4, we met the 10th generation survivor on Sapelo Island, a remarkable lady called Mrs. Bailey. And we had a wonderful visit with her. So it was very evocative that Martin Luther King Day, on the 19th, we were with her. Next day, we were watching all the festivities of Obama becoming president, and we were saying this is such a tribute to America that here we are spending the inauguration not in Washington, D.C., where I come from, but on a tiny island which you haven't heard of, and most Americans haven't, with a descendant of slaves. When a man with a Muslim father is being sworn in as president. Now this, I think, is the greatest symbol of a certain kind of United States of America. I know that a lot of people would be uncomfortable to see a man who's not of a certain color becoming the president. but they have to accept the fact that this world is a diverse world, that there are other civilizations, other peoples who also have a very rich history, a very great contribution to make to world civilization.